Yo, what's up guys? Today, we're checking out Hi Rez's free-to-play shooter, Paladins. I've actually been playing this game on and off since its beta in 2016, which explains the 100 hours, but I haven't played this game as much in the last few years, and maybe you've never even played it at all. Either way, let's find out if Paladins is still worth playing. So, Paladins is a first-person hero shooter where your main objective is to capture an objective or kill everybody, but we don't play TDM around here. The two main game modes I play are the only game modes with actual objectives, which are Siege and Onslaught. They're basically king of the hill and push the payload. Nowadays, I don't think I need to mention the obvious Team Fortress 2 influence from the gameplay to the game modes. Maybe I will later though, but I play Siege more often, which is the one with the payload, and those matches can get really intense at the end when it's a close game. It can be frustrating too, but I'll talk about that later. Now, Onslaught feels like a more consistently fun and casual time, which is exactly what I want from a game like this. I know there's competitive players taking this game seriously, especially being a MOBA type of game, and I'm on PC, but I'm just chilling playing with my friends. I'm not sweating that much. I play Hi Rez's other game Smite, and that game is way more worthy of the sweat. But Paladins? Nah, this is the FPS version of Smite. I'm just having fun shooting shit and capturing the objective and playing with my friends. You know, how video games are meant to be played. We still try to play good and have a decent team, but this ain't no esports. Speaking of team, the character you pick and the role you play is obviously one of the most important decisions you'll make. After not playing for a few years, this game has a good amount of characters by now, and I really enjoy mastering the classic characters and learning some of the new ones. I think it's important to learn as many characters as you can, even if you don't enjoy playing them. It's good to know what they do and how to counter them. It seems like the characters are balanced enough for me to enjoy whoever I'm playing and feel like I'm helping the team, but I can't say anything for ranked because I do not play it. No thank you. Now, something that could add a bit more to the gameplay is the items. You earn credits and buy items as the match goes on. Very simple. It's one of those things that some people say it's a big deal, and some people say it's not. I personally lean towards buying the best items you can, even if it only helps a little bit. Like, I play the healer a lot because no one else wants to, so I like buying items like Chronos and Nimble, or if I'm using a damage character like Victor or Tyra, I'll want Life Rip or maybe Deft Hands. You can even counter enemies, like if you see a healer, you could get Cauterize, or if you see a Fernando, you can get Wrecker. I think the items have their place in Paladins, but never mind that because the items ain't shit compared to the cards. Now, the card system is what really matters. Even if you haven't played this game in years, you'll probably want to update your card loadouts. It might be debatable if the items matter that much, but there's no question about the cards. I mean, you can look up the best items and best card loadouts, but I like to do it myself. It's fun because you can have a loadout focus on a certain ability and it can make you play that character differently. I think little stats and buffs like this make the game a little more interesting and add variety. There's also other little things in the game like quick chat, but I personally don't like it in this game because I'm used to the one in Smite, and I feel like that one makes way more sense. Like in Smite, to say hi, you type VVGH, or if you want to say yes or no, you type VVY and VVN. Makes sense, right? But in Paladins, to say hi, you probably type VHPQZW, and to type yes or no, it's probably V7QR and V$X question mark. You see the problem here? The problem is that I'm only exaggerating a little bit. I don't know why they didn't use the same quick chat in Smite, but it can be pretty useful if you torture yourself to getting the hang of it. I could probably make a whole video ranting about this, but just know that I don't even bother with the quick chat in this game, and I know it like the back of my hand in Smite. Anyway, there's also Mount in this game, which is a little unique for this type of game, but it's a nice and fast way of getting to the action faster, and I feel like these little things give this game its own identity to stand on its own. I know it's not the most unique game in the world, but it's not just an Overwatch clone. Coming from someone who doesn't even have Overwatch, even if it is a clone, It's a damn good one, and it has the advantage of being free and on Steam, and it's not too hard to run, so at least Paladins has all that going for it. But based off what I've heard from people who've played both, Paladins isn't just some cheap clone, and it's good in its own way. I've even heard of some people who prefer Paladins. I know, crazy, right? But there's no denying that both games are similar, being in the same genre with a similar art style, but in my opinion, they both have their own niches and quirks where you might prefer one over the other. I also appreciate how Paladins has crossplay because that's actually the reason I got back into this game. Just like my Dead by Daylight review, I was able to make this video because I was able to crossplay with my friends on Xbox. Just feel like I gotta get that out there. I know this is a 100-hour review, and I'll get into my stats and profile in a minute, but I wouldn't have made it this far if it wasn't for crossplay and modern technology. In fact, I only play this game with my friends, and I have little to no solo experience. It's just one of those games where I need the boys with me. I'm obviously not a pro, and I just casually play with my friends, but I've been playing this game for many years, and I have a good amount of experience. In my other 100-hour reviews, I would normally be more experienced and feel like a wise old man, but this time it's more that I'm returning to a game that I used to play a lot. But it feels good to be back. I'm glad this game is in my friend's rotation right now, and I hope it stays that way. I'd like to make a more experienced review, or maybe even a tips and tricks video. It's just one of those situations where it all depends on my friends. All we can do is pray. But after 100 hours, here's what we're dealing with. I kinda wish there were more stats I could show you, like yeah, I'm level 40 something with about 6 days played. Big deal. I have almost 190 wins, but I can't show you how many losses I have. I guess you can see how many champions and skins I have. I don't think I spent any money on this game, and I'm sure you can tell by looking at my accessories. There's also not much else to show you, but I guess you can see my achievement progress. I'm a bit of an achievement hunter, so I find this a bit interesting. I have almost all of them. Not trying to brag or anything though. I also care a lot about the masteries. You can pause the screen if you want to see my progress with all the champions so far. I normally like to play as many characters as I can. I care a lot more about the masteries in Smite, but I still like to see my progress with all the characters. It's that type of progression that adds replayability for me. My most used characters are probably the ones you're watching in this video. I like all the roles, but my favorite is damage, and I've been really liking support, but not for a good reason. A problem with this game could be the community, and how people instantly lock in a damage or flank character, but rarely a frontline or support. It made me check out the frontlines and supports because I just want to have a good balanced team. I don't know why people don't like the supports. Compared to Smite, they're actually pretty strong in this game. But this can be the first problem to an even bigger problem, and that's when you get into those really unbalanced games. Those games when you know it's over on the very first round. It is such a bad feeling when you know it's over before it even started. It feels like diamond players going against gold players. Some games are just tough, but every now and then, you're the one destroying the enemy team and it feels like you're the diamond player. But even better is when you win those impossible or close games you thought you were gonna lose. Now that's a good feeling. But other than those few complaints that can make a big difference, I don't really have much to complain about. Sure, those unbalanced games can be really annoying and happen somewhat often, but I know what I'm getting myself into when playing this type of game, and it overall plays how I would expect. It's fun like half of the time. It'd be a perfect world if everything was balanced with the characters and players, but I'm happy this game still even gets updates and has a good player count. There's an update about every month or every few months, and this is what the player count looked like in 2021 and the beginning of 2022. Not bad. Sure, the numbers aren't going up over time, but it's normal for a game's player count to eventually go down. At least it didn't go down as fast as it could have. But having an average of thousands of players, and that's just on Steam, I have no problems finding a match, and this game still feels pretty alive. Paladins isn't suffering the symptoms of a dead game, at least not yet. So to me it doesn't matter if there's 50,000 or a few thousand players. As long as the game still plays good, then it doesn't matter. The biggest difference can be the amount of casuals, but Paladins isn't too sweaty, at least compared to Smite. If you want to hop on for old time's sake, or even if you're new, Paladins is still a fun time. This game is optimized well, it feels satisfying to shoot people and to use your abilities and to play the objective and to communicate with friends and to make progress, all that good stuff. So long story short, yes, Paladins is still worth playing. It can be fun to discover the new champions if you haven't played the game for a while, or to get back in the routine of completing daily quests. If you're new, it's still fun and casual enough of a game for you to jump into. You just might get your ass handed to you while you learn the game, but it's worth it. This video can still be relevant years later as long as the player count isn't too dead, but as long as Paladins keeps getting updated, I don't think that should happen too soon. It's good to see that Paladins is still standing pretty strong after all these years, at least from my point of view. I don't know if I'd call this game a hidden gem, but more people should definitely check it out. But there you go. My weird mix of a review and answering the question if Paladins is still worth playing. It can get a little tricky trying to explain the game, share my experience, and tell you if it's still worth playing without taking too long. Like, this video is getting long enough. I also didn't want to compare this game to Team Fortress 2 that much because it might be better for another video, and I appreciate both games. I thank TF2 for inspiring games like Overwatch and Paladins, it's the reason they exist, but I personally think TF2 walked so Overwatch and Paladins can run, at least for me. But trust me, I understand that Team Fortress is a classic, and it's better, and that many people still prefer it, so don't yell at me. But I hope I did a good enough job explaining everything. You can leave a comment if I didn't, or if I forgot something. I also just wanted to talk about this game. I've been playing Hi Rez's games for a while now, and this is definitely my second favorite. Sometimes I like it more than my favorite. Smite is my favorite Hi Rez game if you couldn't tell. I have much more than 100 hours on that game. I might make a review on it one of these days, but we'll see. But thank you guys for watching this far into the video. It means a lot that you enjoy my videos, so leave a like to let me know that I'm doing something right. Drop a comment if you want to get involved and maybe have a conversation. You can also just make fun of me if you want, it turns me on. But don't forget to subscribe and stay tuned for a potential Smite or Paladins video in the future. But I upload a bunch of games on the channel, so be open to that. Again, thank you guys for making it to the very end. You're way more special and more valuable to me. And hopefully I'll see you guys in one of these other videos. Peace.